just as easy as all the rest.
Right.
Maybe a fraction slower.
Will wearing heeled shoes instantly add 100 kilos to your squat? No, of course not. But they do help in other ways, and in this video I want to help you decide whether they're worth it from the perspective of someone that's relatively new to the sport. A little bit about myself then, for the one or two of you that might not know. My name is Jack and I am a full-time musician by trade, and when it comes to training, I've been training for powerlifting for about a year now, and then before that I've spent about 5 years on and off, very on and off, doing general sort of gym hypertrophy, sort of gym bro-y kind of things. So who should buy these heeled shoes then? As far as I'm concerned, it's quite easy. It should be someone that squats a lot, or someone that trains in Olympic weightlifting, or someone that might have like chronic ankle immobility or something. The real question comes, why should one wear them? If there's one thing I've learned from doing research and speaking to my coach, it's the one thing you don't do is squat in running shoes. Running shoes are designed to cushion your feet, so essentially you're going to be squatting with marshmallows on, and that's not really what you want. Us as powerlifters, when we're squatting, essentially we want to be creating as much energy between us and the floor, and having that cushion in between is just going to make it that little bit harder. So an easy win that you can do is just squat barefoot. But the obvious difference between those shoes and these shoes is the heel. The biggest appeal for us as lifters is that this heel allows us to hit depth far easier, which also makes it a lot easier for those with stiff ankles. Why did I buy them then? Well, to be honest, I didn't really consider these things that I just mentioned. Number one, I found them online for a pretty good price, so I put a bit of a YOLO bid in, and lo and behold, I won them. And number two, well, I saw that professionals were using them, so I thought, why not? As for these shoes in particular, these are the Nike Romalejo 3s, and they just look cool, to be honest. So as for the shoe itself, I'm only going to skim over the specs because for me this video is about shoes as a whole rather than these shoes. But these shoes, like I just said, are the Nike Romalejo 3s, so I think they're a generation or two out of date now. They're quite light thanks to the honeycomb heel. They lace like this. They've got a 20mm heel and they fit exactly as I expected. I'm a UK size 9 and they fit me perfectly. I feel like it's always going to be a bit weird going from flat ground to a raised heel, just from the nature that your heel is in the air a bit more. One of those was the fact that it felt like I had to relearn my foot position a bit. I don't know if it's because of the particularly flat sole, meant that when I placed my foot, it kind of felt like it was glued in place almost. I know that wasn't the case, but that's sort of how it felt. I noticed that my stance kind of got a bit narrow when that happened, so I kind of had to make a conscious effort to make it a tiny bit wider. I did notice, however, when I was in my right position, that hitting depth was a lot easier, a lot for me, and I've already got pretty mobile ankles myself. Although a result of that was, I think part of when you have a heel, a part of that is that it allows you to keep your torso upright. So whereas before I found myself almost not quite good morning squatting, but I was defo leaning a bit more. So I found that when I did have the heel on, especially when I was on the way back up out of the hole, I found myself losing balance a bit more, which is just something that took a bit of getting used to. But other than that, I've not really noticed much else yet. It's just those couple of things. 90% of people, when they're buying these heeled shoes, are going to buy it for the squat, but just wanted to mention a little bit on the bench, because I know that there's a few people that do use them on bench, and myself included. I've been testing them with that. I wish I had a bit more to say about these heeled shoes and the bench, but to be honest, there's not much. The only difference I noticed was that there was a period of time that when the weights got heavier, my butt was lifting off the bench a bit more, and which I can't like necessarily directly correlate because of the heel, but that's certainly something that I felt like was happening. It kind of reminded me of, it's probably quite niche here, but like, you know when you go camping and you're messing around with the like collapsible tent pegs, or not tent pegs, they're tent poles, and you sort of push them together and like it kind of like rounds up like this. That's kind of how it felt like with my butt was happening. Whereas like when my foot was flat on the floor, there was less of that continuous arch kind of from the ankle to my body or to my head. But yeah, that's that. Like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a part of the nature of having a heeled shoe. It might be, it might not, but that's something that I felt like at the time. Would I recommend buying a set of these then? Basically, if you've got the money to splash, then why not? Or if you've got really limited ankle mobility. There are tons of videos on YouTube and Instagram about ankle flexibility, but a couple of signs that you might have stiff ankles are that if your heel keeps raising as you're squatting, or if you struggle to keep upright during the ascent of the squat. But there's a massive caveat to this, and that's if you buy these shoes, it's not going to fix it. You have to keep working on your ankle mobility. It's similar in the music world, because there's people out there that think that buying a new mouthpiece is going to instantly increase their range, or that changing the fretboard on their guitar is just going to make their fingers infinitely more mobile. Whereas these things aren't inherently designed to just fix your problems. You still got to work on them on top of that. If you don't want to spend between 60 and 300 pounds on shoes, lifting barefoot is fine. I've done it for a long time. There's so many people that are way stronger than me that lift barefoot. But if you did want to replicate this raised heel, you can do it with just placing a little micro plate, like a 2.5 kilo plate underneath your foot as you're squatting. That can feel quite weird at times because you've sort of like, you really are stuck in your position, but I found that that's a pretty good alternative. My final point with these shoes, or just equipment in general, is that if it makes you feel good and doesn't impede on your performance, then just go for it. I think sometimes it's easy to overlook just like the fact that what we're wearing can have such an impact on our performance. As I know that if I'm wearing a oversized t-shirt, some shorts, I got the belt wrapped around and got chalk dust going, I know that's just going to make me feel that 10% like stronger. So it's like anything, if it makes you feel good and doesn't make you worse, then just go for it. So yeah, it's not the most direct yes or no answer, but if you're getting them for ankle immobility, then work on your ankle flexibility first and then consider getting them. If you're getting them to feel good and you've got the money for it, then go for it. Why not? Thank you very much for watching this rambly video. Feel free to come back whenever I upload next. You can also follow my Instagram, Jack Lifts. I'll pop it down there, pop it somewhere, for updates on when I upload and just training in general. But yeah, have a nice day.